Hey everyone, Beck here. So I'm taking you through a bit of a deep dive into lunges in your Pilates class. One of the best ways that you can incorporate some lunges is by adding them to your upper body section, much as you would if you were teaching a bar class, but having those dumbbells and sort of adding the lower body work, compound work, into your upper body work. Today though, I want to talk about lunges in terms of purely for legs and glutes. So I am going to incorporate a slider. I've only got one slider with me today. That's all you're going to need really when you're teaching the class. If you don't have sliders at your studio or with private clients, then I would suggest nice thick socks that slip. They feel great when doing that kind of work. And also you can use tea towels or sort of hand towels, that kind of thing, things that slide. But generally those thick socks or a sliders, and these are super easy for you to carry around as well if you're kind of traveling around and teaching different places, like private clients, and you want to bring your own. So let's get started. I'll show you a few different variations. Slider is going to go underneath my right foot. And it's much like a reformer sequence really, where I'm doing a long lunge to start. So I'm taking an inhale, I'm firming that left hip in and extending that right leg back into a long lunge, pushing into that left foot to stand all the way up. I'm doing probably about, I would say 8 to 12 of these is a really good place to start. You can add those arms, reaching forward, squeezing to stand. Arms reaching forward, squeezing to stand. So once you've done about 8, you then want to add at least 2 to 3 layers. So I'm going to add a scooter leg, sliding it in slowly, using that core to squeeze it in. 8 to 12 again. Another layer that you could add to that would be a straight leg pulse. Up an inch, down an inch, pressing into that left foot. And then just a hold, a static hold, wrapping the left hip back and firming the right hip in. Pressing to stand all the way up. Now obviously that's in the sagittal plane, so I want to work my legs in different planes of movement, getting into that external rotation. So I'm now going to think about how I can make it externally rotated, which for me would be a curtsy lunge, turning that body on that diagonal. Curtsy lunge, turning the body on the diagonal. So again, 8 to 12. So once you've done your 8 to 12 curtsies, you can then add on. Same thing, you could do a scooter, but those legs are externally rotated, as you can see. If someone has knee injuries, issues, they can't do turned out work, then always giving that option of parallel legs. Same thing as we just did. Yeah, otherwise they're both externally rotated. You can hold and you can do some pulses there. 8 to 12, you can do a little heel lift. And same thing, static hold, get lower, down, stand all the way up. You've then got your option to do some lateral lunges with that scooter. So this is more glute, sort of abductors, abductors as that leg goes out to the side. And then it's adductors, inner thighs, squeezing those legs in. So 8 to 12 again. And then you could add pulses here. You can add a little static, hold, lift and lower. All of these again, 8 to 12 is great as a rule of thumb. You can then go into your scooter in that lateral, squeezing it in, just staying low in that leg. You can have a little moment in between where you're doing some alternating kind of pulses or something like that, just to almost flush out the leg, even a down and up, like a bit of an active recovery. So that would be like a lateral lunge. So we've done a long lunge, we've done a curtsy lunge, and we've done a lateral lunge. Now, there's always a nice long 90-90 lunge, which is parallel legs again. So you're in the sagittal plane, but as that leg goes back, you're bending the back knee, sliding it back, pressing to stand, maybe adding some arms, back and forward, back and forward, sliding, tracking that front knee over the second, third toe so that glute on the left side engages a bit more. And then you can take it into here, any kind of layer you like. say 8 to 12 pulses, staying low in the 90-90 lunge, just being careful the slider doesn't slide away as they do a heel lift and squish, heel lift, squish, and then hold, get lower, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, pressing to stand all the way up. So those are some great ones that you can add with the slider. You can also do these with no props. So if you are teaching a Pilates mat class where you don't have the option of using props, lunges are a fantastic way of getting them off the mat, getting the glutes working, the hamstrings and the thighs, and just making it a little bit more interesting so it's not just like a Pilates mat kind of lying down class. So examples, exactly the same. The only thing that's harder probably is a slide. I'm doing this on the floor, but if I'm to open out my mat and do all of this on more of a sticky mat or a grip mat, you'll notice that it's really hard to kind of slide that foot in. So in this instance, I would usually, yes, you can do this. This is a fantastic little exercise, but I'm not getting that suctioning in sensation that I do from the slider. So my leg, my left glute and hamstring and thigh doesn't have to work quite as hard. Yeah, so in that case, you do need to add more layers. So an example of a layered lunge sequence without a slider on the mat could be a nice long lunge, tapping it forward, starting by straightening that front leg, 8 to 12. You then might get them to stay in the leg, tap, tap it in, tap. And see, I'm not letting my left leg straighten this time. You could then make it a little bit more dynamic by having them squeeze their knee to their chest. We call this a knee repeater, and arms can reach, and this is going to help them get the sensation of the knee coming in. And it's a little bit more dynamic. From there, if you wanted to, slight diagonal, and you can do the same thing, tap. A little bit of external rotation in this underneath leg. You can add on again, you can go knee in, and then you can squeeze, again, 8 to 12. So by then, they're getting a nice little juicy burn. You can then go into your 90 lunges, which could be lunge, step forward, lunge, step forward. You will find some clients that struggle with balance, such as pregnant women, slightly older clients. They might not like that. It's quite dynamic. They might want it to be a bit sturdier, in which case, holding the leg back, zipping the belly, and just going down and up. Now, taking into account, I don't have any props. I don't have weights in my hands, so I do have to make this more challenging. What am I going to do? Layers, of course. If in doubt, pulse. That's my motto. So you're pulsing 8 to 12. Get another layer in there, lift and lower. Another layer could be straightening the back leg, tipping forward, and then back into the 90-90 lunge, straighten the back leg, tip forward, 90-90 lunge. And then something else could be lifting that heel, wrapping that knee forward and back. And then that is a good juicy burn. I'm not gonna lie, getting a little bit lower. Before you go the other side, you could add some squats, or you could go into an alternating lunge, just flushing it out. Just as an example, before going to the other side, lunge, tap. If your clients are okay with that balance challenge, that stability challenge, and then your basic lunge up and down. And then getting into that burn, really getting into the hamstring with these pulses, lift and lower. Pulse with a lift and lower, heel down, you can straighten through the back leg, lean, straighten through the back leg. So that's just some options there. And of course, you can do your curtsy lunges. Curtsy lunges without a slider, still amazing. I will quite often add a curtsy into a squat, curtsy into a squat. And this is where you can add those hand weights, those light sort of 1 to 2 kilo weights. Yeah, and then you can also do your lateral lunges without the slider, but it's going to be a little bit more something like that, tapping in and out. Possibly standing, but as you know, as we've just spoken about, we're not getting that challenge of coming in. So I'm not getting that suctioning challenge when I come in. But I can hold it here, lift and lower, getting into that glute med, which is what we want. Lateral lunges are in the lateral plane. They're going to get into the abductors. Lift, lower, hold, pulse. And then you can go into a nice dynamic lateral lunge to flush it out. Then you can transition to the other side. So an out and in. Maybe it's here, a lift and a lower, or maybe you're going out and you're standing to start. Then you're holding it down, in and out. 8 to 12, lift, glute med, pulse, maybe a hold, and then of course you can flush it out again. So this is a really nice way to flow a Pilates class so it doesn't feel quite as stagnant. It's almost like a Pilates kind of cardio Pilates class, if you will. And it's going to get the heart rate up a little bit, especially for you as you're speaking. So I hope that helps you a little bit with your Pilates mat classes, different kinds of lunges. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment and we will get back to you. Thanks so much.